Hello, I'm Pastor Reinhold from the Way Church with another segment of Connect the Dots, a 50-minute program about biblical prophecy and how it relates to current events. Today we will look at an astounding passage in the Old Testament book of Daniel. King Nebuchadnezzar has a dream, and only Daniel, who was a slave from Israel, knows how to interpret the king's dream. Let's look at the dream and at Daniel's interpretation. I'm reading from Daniel chapter 2, starting at verse 31. You looked, O king, and there before you stood a large statue, an enormous, dazzling statue, awesome in appearance. The head of the statue was made of pure gold, its chest and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of baked clay. While you were watching, a rock was cut out, but not by human hands. It struck the statue on its feet of iron and clay and smashed them. Then the iron and clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were broken to pieces at the same time and became like chaff on a threshing floor in the summer. The wind swept them away without leaving a trace. But the rock that struck the statue became a huge mountain and filled the whole earth. We are introduced to the 5 different materials here: the gold, silver, bronze, iron, and clay. From expensive to inexpensive. And then we are introduced to the rock that smashes the statue and then fills the whole earth. But what does all of that mean? You know, I'm so glad it is not left up to man's interpretation, but God told Daniel exactly what it means. So, let's read about it in Daniel chapter 2, starting at 36. This was the dream, and now we will interpret it to the king. You, O king, are the King of kings. The God of heaven has given you dominion and power and might and glory. In your hands he has placed mankind and the beasts of the field and the birds of the air. Wherever they live, he has made you ruler over them all. You are that head of gold. After you, another kingdom will rise, inferior to yours. Next, a third kingdom, one of bronze, will rule over the whole earth. Finally, there will be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron. For iron breaks and smashes everything. And as iron breaks things to pieces, so it will crush and break all the others. Just as you saw that the feet and the toes were partially of baked clay and partially of iron, so this will be a divided kingdom. Yet it will have some of the strength of iron in it, even as you saw iron mixed with clay. As the toes were partially iron and partially clay, so this kingdom will be partially strong and partially brittle. And just as you saw the iron mixed with baked clay, so the people will be a mixture and will not remain united any more than iron mixes with clay. In the time of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed, nor will it be left to another people. It will crush all those kingdoms and bring them to an end, but it will itself endure forever. This is the meaning of the vision of the rock cut out of a mountain, but not by human hands, a rock that broke the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold to pieces. Wow. Now, let's identify the 5 kingdoms. The first one is Babylon. 627 BC is when King Nebuchadnezzar's father founded the Babylonian Empire. Babylon was the golden kingdom. Remember that all of the gold of the temple and the palace ended up in Nebuchadnezzar's treasury. We are told in 1 Kings chapter 10 that Israel received 800,000 ounces of gold in 1 year. That's about 25 tons of gold under King Solomon's reign. The next kingdom is Medo-Persia. It is the chest and the arms. The Persians and the Medes conquered Babylon in 539 BC. Persia is the silver kingdom. All the taxes in Persia had to be paid in silver coins, not gold coins. After Persia comes Greece. It was Alexander the Great who conquered Persia in 331 BC. It was the Bronze Kingdom. All the soldiers wore bronze chest plates and held bronze shields in their hands. After Greece came Rome. The last part of Greece was taken by the Romans in 31 BC. Rome is the Iron Kingdom. It was ruled with an iron fist. It destroyed everything it conquered. Remember the temple in Jerusalem? Not one stone was left on the other. Very typical for Rome. The Roman Empire was never taken by another force. It split into two and finally deteriorates and splits into many nations. Now you need to remember that Greece at the time of Daniel was but a few warring tribes, totally unaware that one day they would be a world power. And Rome? It was a small town on the banks of the Tiber River, and yet hundreds of years later it would become a world power. But what about the feet of iron and clay? Which one is the next world kingdom? Well, there's really no fifth kingdom. On the fifth place is the revived Roman Empire. Its beginnings were found around 1900. Today it is known as the EU, the European Union. It is called the Empire of Iron mixed with clay. Some aspects are very strong, some very weak, like the clay. Europe is a leader in industrial ingenuity. We can clearly see its strength in the area of technology. We are constantly bombarded with bigger, stronger, better. We read that information doubles every 6 months. Technology is the new god of this age. It is the savior of the people. But then there is the clay. What does the clay represent? You know, I always wondered when I looked at the map of the European Union and the Roman Empire, why the bottom half is missing. Because the countries around the Mediterranean Sea all used to be part of the Roman Empire. Until July of 2008, when the French president Nicolas Sarkozy brokered the deal and it's about to take off. The summit of the heads of state of 43 countries of the Mediterranean Union will take place in Barcelona on June 7th, 2010. The French foreign minister has announced that the Union of the Mediterranean, a project aimed at boosting ties between the European Union and Mediterranean states, is to be formally revived at the end of this month. The announcement follows a meeting of French Foreign Minister Bernhard Kouchner and Egyptian Foreign Minister Ahmed Aboul-Gheit, who jointly hold the presidency of the new bloc. Now, take a look at the map of the EU and the MU, and you will be amazed that the two blocs, which will work closely together, look just like the old Roman Empire. But clay is weak. You see, there's little industry in the MU. Most countries are Muslim countries, with the exception of Israel. Israel creates a whole new set of problems for the MU because no Muslim country wants to cooperate with them. We have indeed the feet of the statue made from iron and clay. But what about this rock that smashes it all? Daniel explains a time will come when God will set up His kingdom. He will do away with all the kingdoms of the earth and set up His own kingdom. We know this kingdom from the book of Revelation as the Millennium Kingdom. The kingdom that will last 1,000 years, where Jesus Christ will rule. When King Nebuchadnezzar heard the amazing interpretation of the dream by Daniel, he fell down before Daniel and told him that his God is indeed the God of all gods. You see, for us, this is just history. It's a history lesson. But think of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. It was all future. It was the entire world history laid out for him in advance. Now, let's connect the dots. Let me tell you about some facts about the European Union. The European Union flag consists of 12 stars, inspired by the halo of the 12 stars that appear around the Madonna in Catholic pictures of her. A former Secretary General of the Council of Europe, Leon Marshall, affirmed that the stars are those of the woman of the apocalypse. Enthusiastically, he proclaimed that. He said, "It's wonderful that we have gotten back to the introit of the new Mass of the Assumption, the crown of the 12 stars of the woman of the apocalypse." This is a reference to the woman in Revelation chapter 12 who appears with a crown of 12 stars. Although this woman represents Israel, the Catholic Church has always claimed that she represents the Virgin Mary, the Mother of God. Then here is the anthem. The same document issued to commemorate Europe Day on May 9th also toots Europe's new common anthem, Ode to Joy, the prelude to the last movement of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. The EU document states that although the anthem officially is the Ode to Joy, it really is an ode to freedom, to a sense of community and to peace between the countries which have decided to unite and to others which will freely decide to join them. In fact, the Ode to Joy is not quite that innocent. The lyrics, by a man named Friedrich von Schiller, concern the entering of the shrine of a pagan goddess and the uniting of all men in brotherhood by the power of magic. Then we come to another amazing fact of the European Union, the Tower of Babel. An amazing poster was issued by the European Union showing the Tower of Babel and carrying the slogan, "Many tongues, one voice." In case the point was lost, a crane in the background was shown rebuilding the tower. Above the tower, the Babel, were shown the Eurostars, but inverted, as in witchcraft, with the central points downwards. Now on the left is the painting done by 1563, the Tower of Babel, by Peter Bruegel the Elder, a Flemish Northern Renaissance painter. The Tower of the Louis Weiss building on the right, although it looks unfinished, was designed with the express purpose of resembling the Tower of Babel as depicted in Bruegel's painting. Then here is another one, the woman riding the beast. Another demonic biblical symbol that is being used in conjunction with the European Union is the one from Revelation 17, where a great harlot is depicted riding the beast. For some strange and unknown reason, this symbol is being used to represent the EU. For example, when Britain issued a stamp to commemorate the first European Parliament election in 1979, the picture of the stamp depicted a woman riding the beast. The new Brussels headquarters of the Council of Europe contains a bronze statue of a woman riding a beast. And the beast is depicted riding the waves, just in Revelation 17. Scripture is being fulfilled before our eyes. For those with eyes to see. So let me ask you, can you see the dots connecting? Can you see the EU and the MU together as the feet of the statue described by Nebuchadnezzar? How close do you think we are for Jesus to come as the rock that destroys the world's kingdom and sets up his own kingdom and his own reign? I think we are very close. Are you ready for Jesus' return? Do you have a personal relationship to Jesus? Are you born again? If you want to talk about this, you can contact me at lambstv.com. Until next week, God bless.